What's up everyone, it's Gabbie Trades here and welcome back to the channel. Well, SPY hit new record highs and yesterday we got fresh NVIDIA earnings. Altcoins are showing strength. Is this the beginning of the alt season we were waiting for? But before we dive in, you guys, as usual, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe if you're new here, more than welcome, and hit the bell notification so you never miss my live breakdowns over here. So first things first, we had some data come in an hour and a half ago, you guys, which we're going to look at right now immediately. Hold on, let me just pull my screens. All right, so this is Forex calendar as usually, Forex Factory, that's what we're looking at. Now, important data we had today is, of course, the GDP and unemployment claims. As you can see over here, the data interpretation is the following. So we had 3.3%, that's the GDP print that came in. It's well above expectations, which were 3.1, but it's also well above, most importantly to note, well above the typical 2% long-term trend that we have. Now, so the thing about that is that when we have stronger than expected economic growth for the US economy, that means it's running hot, and that is suggesting that it's not supportive of aggressive rate cuts. If you guys remember, that's exactly what we are hoping for. So if you're thinking about the Fed, he generally wants to see a slowdown in the economy in order for him to start easing. On top of that, then we have the unemployment claims expectations for 231K, and then we got 229K today. So that falling to 229K today below expectations is indicating that layoffs are remaining low and employment is actually somehow solid at the moment. Again, this is going to be arguing against immediate rate cuts, since the Fed wants to see the labor market cooling before, shifting policy over here. Now, so overall, like we said, these reports do not support the near-term rate cuts. Do not forget, tomorrow we have the core PCE, which is the preferred measure tool for inflation for the Fed. So let's see. For now, today's data is pretty much suggesting that the Fed has room to stay patient for now. So we only are going to get any supportive angles for these cuts if inflation were already like falling fast, but these numbers don't show any urgency at the moment. So that's important to to note. Resilient drops, no immediate rate cuts. So the second news that we of course have to look at is also one that's very important, and we've been trying to warn about this. Now we had the NVIDIA earnings that came in yesterday just after the bell. Now those results were exceptional. Those results was absolutely exceptional. However, the results of that were that the stock fell 3%. Now you're gonna ask why. Well, first of all, we have to look at the results over here. So over here we had 56% increase, that's year over year, which is beating expectations. Very good. So that is going to suggest, actually that was 46.7 billion, which is again above expectations. But then we had the data center revenue as well come in, which was at 41.1 billion. Of course, record high yet again. But the problem with that was that the Wall Street, the Wall Street are way too aggressive, and their aggressive analysts were having higher targets. So it was under the targets. And then another thing that happened was that we announced buybacks on NVIDIA. So they're going to be offering additional 60 billion stock repurchase. So again, the stock fell, even after these amazing results, the stock fell like 3%. So then you're thinking, why is the reason? Well, we were looking for the guidance, if you remember. And what happened is that the China exposure remained unclear within that guidance, and there is going to be no H20 chip sales to China in Q2. So the guidance is excluding them, and that's happening due to the regulatory uncertainty right now. And of course, due to sky-high expectations, that's another reason why the stock fell over here. So when you have even small, slight misses of the expectations, that could usually spark selling pressures over here. But the broader market is still very positive because SPY hit record heights, so that's showing strong bullish momentums, and alts are looking really, really good for a potential breakout at the moment. So we're gonna look at that right now. Let's say hi in the chat. We have Z Trader, Muria. How many likes do we have, you guys? Stanimir, can you tell me? We need to have at least 60 likes right now. How's it, Trader? Good, good. All right, you guys. So first of all, we're going to look at Solana over here. So the thing with Solana was very nice that we managed to predict quite nicely that the 0.5 of the trading range, which you guys know very well, that currently the trading range is between 1.55 and 213. So we were predicting that for this bullish scenario, the price needs to hold at around the 0.5 edge in order for us to exit the whole range to the upside. Obviously, this is what happened over here, and the good thing was exceptionally well. Again, the indicators are working super nicely with the liquidity here that was created over here at around Tuesday coming to Wednesday. We were getting even more confirmation that this high over here is going to be a target. So as you learn a little bit more how I trade and what my methods are, you're going to find out that I use specific indicators over here, which are available for everyone to get. You can do that under the description box, but I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. So because there is some important things that we need to discuss over here on Solana, let us focus a little bit. So what did we say on Tuesday last time when we look at Sol? So we looked at Sol and we said that Sol has this massive sell zone over here. And the problem with that zone was that price could not, for the life of it, break through that sell zone. By that, I mean, as you can see, price was leaving these wicks up here and bodies were closing below that zone. Now that was very important for us to make a note of, because essentially that created a sell setup over here. Now that price today is breaking through it, the thing that everyone needs to be watching for is for this daily candle to ensure that we get that close above this zone. Because once we get that close above this zone, in my opinion, there is nothing stopping price, at least to the very least at around the next sell zone for potential pullbacks, which is around 235.02 over here on Solana. And what is that area over here? Well, that area is the high time frame range area on Solana over here. So we're working with a smaller time frames, smaller price legs, and then we're working with a bigger one. So over here, that's a major area, right? That's a major area, because if you ignore the small range over here, let's ignore it for a second. Let's ignore the small range over here. You can see that the 0.5 of the big range, in exactly the same bullish scenario that we expected for the lower range, wants to play out and wants to essentially come up to this area. So that is the trajectory for Solana overall, right? The trajectory for Solana is that we come above $300. That is what price is trying to achieve. Of course, in the momentum of that price getting there, there is going to be smaller legs forming and price is not going to shoot in one way up. So of course we have methods for that, on how to catch these moves up and down, and that's of course looking at the lower time frames for that. However, also another thing that I want to show you here is that on a 12-hour time frame, again with the help of the indicators, we can clearly see, if the indicators load, that the all-time high for Solana is liquidity. So that is just another confirmation that we're entering into that momentum, right? So 0.5, here is the red line. Price rejects from it, and price essentially is making its way up to break above $300 Solana, or if you want to be more precise, you're looking at 295 above. So, you know, that's why we're expecting that momentum for now to pick up. But before, of course, it's not going to be a straight way up. We're going to face some resistances. Not only that we have a sell zone left here in the form of an order block, technically if you look at the chart, but you also have the 0.786 of the price range of my range theory model that I essentially consider as a sell zone under specific circumstances. And over here, you guys, I'm going to show you right now if I can manage to pull that up. Let's see if I can. Yes. So over here, what you need to do is you need to make sure to come in the description box of this video. We have only 22 likes, by the way, and we have over 80 people watching us. So we need at least 60 more likes for this video right now. So under the description box, what you can find is all the amazing goodies that Coin Bureau has managed to pull up for my viewers over here, which is a lot of sign-up bonuses. If you're looking to trade crypto, if you're looking to catch the momentum and you don't know where, there is lots of exchanges over here that will offer amazing bonuses to do that. And also what you can do is you can find my trading indicators over here, and you can get on my trade course strategy waitlist, which I'm releasing next week. So if you're not on that waitlist, you're not going to get the prices that the people on that waitlist are going to get. And of course, make sure to follow my main YouTube channel over here as well. So now that that's out of the way, let's continue. So yeah, Solana and the alts, we're going to look at some alts over here that I've prepared for you guys, but that's overall the trajectory that I'm looking at. And the first important note is going to be today closing bullish. So we don't want to see this bullish candle returning its position back down within this sell zone. So essentially, if you want to be a bit more precise, you don't want for Solana to come back and close the day below $206.66. Yes, William, we're moving to Ethereum right now. So once again, you guys, we had a very correct bias for this week, right? On Tuesday, I told you guys I'm long Ethereum, I'm long some alts. So that was the correct bias for this week. So let's not make a mistake. We had the correct bias again for this week. So I hope you guys are making use of watching these videos over here. Yes, so Ethereum's been a bit slow today in comparison with Solana. We already have like around 6% gain of Solana today, and then in comparison to Ethereum sitting at 1.8 at the moment. As you can see, there is a huge discrepancy over there, but that is because price is moving the way it's supposed to move. We're supposed to see rotations exactly take place in the same way. Now, for Ethereum, the first good news that I have for you is that over here, this price level, which is exactly at 4,955, is officially a liquidity now on a 4-hour time frame, which is a time frame scale at the current price action, which I like to see. So that is indicating to me that price wants to draw to these highs over here and essentially create a new high. So even if price drops down a little bit over here within the zone of this formation, you would have to have technically some sort of confirmation that price would like to bounce and continue to the upside. And if you're looking at the triangular formation over here, essentially, in case you have a drop, because you never know if that might be the case or not, in case you have a drop, right, you'll be looking to find support within the the double bottom over here of this triangular formation in order for price to come up and take the 5K levels on Ethereum, which is going to be a massive boost again. William is happy with that analysis. Yeah, so ETH is very slow right now, but this is what's happening. Ethereum is moving, ANA is moving, right, which we know very well. We discussed about ANA. So ANA is playing by the book, like we said on Tuesday, like we said the weeks before. We were expecting for this buy zone to hold over here on ANA, and we wanted to be long over here. So that's currently happening right now. So the first resistance on a 4-hour time frame, let's not ignore that. We can see it again with the help of my indicators over here. Even though 4-hour resistance, I don't tend to watch that much. I prefer 12-hour time frame, prefer daily time frame. But due to the lack of these, we can resort, of course, 4-hour time frame is still a good time frame to be looking at for some potential retracements over here if that happens. So around 0.7014, and if we break that zone, it is then pretty much up from there. Now, let's not forget Bitcoin. Of course, we're here to look at Bitcoin most importantly. So to be fair with you guys, when I'm trying to establish my bias for the entirety of the week and for the broader market, I do use Bitcoin mainly for that. Yes, keep your requests coming, you guys. We're going to look at the alts that you want to see as well while we're here. So make sure you put that in the description, in the chat box of this video. So Bitcoin. Now, the thing about Bitcoin is over here, just like we said very nicely this week with the week beginning, true week open, price traded below, bias was bullish, right? And bias is still going to be bullish. Now, for me personally, I want to see Bitcoin trade up above 119,287, and I want to see that happening before the end of the week. Is going to be very important for that to be the case. And over here, if you can notice, I do have these lines, yellow vertical lines that you can see. So that to me is going to mark the beginning of the following month. So the way I look at the charts, and again, if you want to learn how I use my strategies, you can sign up for the course waitlist. Very important for you to do that because you're going to get the prices that no one else is going to get. So the way I look at the markets is I don't look at the beginning of the week from the first week. I always start looking at it from the second week onwards. And that's my approach to the markets in general. So to me, this is what signifies over here the price action of August. So for example, I don't look anything beyond August 11 for the month of August, right? So over here, we do have a little bit more time to complete this current cycle of this price action, and around 8th of September, whatever price is doing, I would expect some sort of a reversal to take place. So let's say, for example, I would expect some sort of reversal to take place at the beginning of September. So let's say, for example, we start trading over here Bitcoin and we reach up here to the true month open around end of the first week in September. So then I would be expecting for price to bring us some sort of a retracement over here. Same thing, values, if price, for example, starts ranging over here and creates a low, I would expect for price to make some sort of reversal at around the beginning of the second week of September. Now, you guys know very well that we've been bearish on Bitcoin for quite some time now, especially since this bearish candle over here on a daily time frame. And we've also assessed the potential drawdown for this entire move to complete, because essentially the move is still not entirely completed over here. So for that, I utilize over here my tools, and then I can see clearly that price is rejecting from around the 0.5 of my standard deviation over here. So that is very strong if that happens, right? If you have a bearish trend and the price is rejecting around 1.5, that tends to be strong usually. But what I like to see, and what is more convincing to me of a completed move, is where price draws down to the -2 standard deviation of my price leg bearish assessment over here. And let's not forget, this assessment down here might be very correct, because also on 4-hour time frame, we do have some sort of liquidity that's accumulated down here below these lows. At around, we're looking at 107.2k Bitcoin. So if price comes down to clear that liquidity, clearly lots of liquidation stacked over there, then we'll be looking at, hello Captain JJ, then we'll be potentially looking at the standard deviations playing a little bit lower. So that'll be 1.56, 1.4 if that happens. All right. Now, you guys, good job for following through. I know it's a lot of information and sometimes it's hard to digest, but a quick repeat for anyone that's new here. You guys, if you just joined, make sure to like and subscribe. If you're new here, welcome. And again, make sure to come in the description box and check all the goodies that Coin Bureau has prepared for us. Sign up bonuses on different exchanges, and make sure to follow my main YouTube channel as well in the description box down below. So, quick recap for anyone that joined just now. Bitcoin is actually confirmed a bearish momentum over here. which is fine. And we just assess that in case price continues to the downside, we might see some levels of liquidity being drawn to, which is going to be 107.2, and then we're looking at the standard deviations extensions at around 1.6 to 1.5 Bitcoin if price rejects over here. Now, regardless, if anything, I would like to see if Bitcoin wants to reject. There is two areas that I'm looking at. So the first area that I'm going to be looking at for Bitcoin is going to be around this area over here. So if Bitcoin would like to retrace, in my opinion, this block over here where you see a little bit of what we call balanced price action, this is what you're facing over here with overlap of two fair value gaps, price imbalances, whatever you want to call it, that's over here. So price might actually tap into that zone and reject to create a lower low. So we always need to be we need to have that at the back of our heads. Second option over here for me, and by the way, if we complete first option like that and we end, we start September on the lower end, I would be expecting for the second week of September for us to get some sort of reversal. Now, second option for me over here is going to be price continuing up, retesting the true month open over here, and then potentially reversing again somewhere at around the first week of September. Both scenarios, in my opinion, are very, very possible to play out overall. Oh boy. Okay, so you guys, I'm not sure if you put anything in the chat box over here in terms of altcoins that you want me to look at, but I'll show you some of the altcoins that you know, me personally I'm looking at right now. So we already saw Anna. Did we look at ADA over here? Cardano, I think we were looking at Cardano together before, so Cardano still at a buy zone. Maybe not one of the coins that I absolutely love at the moment, although the high over here is liquidity on a higher time frame, so that's important to note. But this is one of the coins that's currently trading in between a sell zone and in between a buy zone. So essentially you're in kind of a ranging situation. So let's look at this in a bit more detail, right? So when you have a coin that is ranging in the way that it is, you have two scenarios over here that could play out. So for example, if you're extremely bullish, and this is what I said also on my main channel this morning, people found it very profound for some reason. I think it's something very basic that any trader needs to know, is that if you're in a range over here, there is two ways you can play this, right? Number one is you want to be positioned at the low of this range, ideally at a point of interest. So by that I mean it's going to be some sort of buy zone, some sort of buy breaker block, some sort of you know, daily, hourly resistance, whatever you guys look at, and you would like to be positioned at the lower part of this range for price to break out to the upside. The second way you can play this is if you have a range over here, you would be expecting for institutions are accumulating in a range. Now that's more than clear. The second way in a bullish scenario that you would want to play this is you would want to wait for this range to clear to the downside with a clear exit, where it's very clear that price is liquidating a lot of people. And then you would want to position at a point of interest, for example, this order block over here, and you would want to position yourself again to the upside. So that is kind of the two scenarios that we can play these games over here. Okay. XRP, absolutely same thing, just like we repeated for ADA. There is nothing else to discuss over here. Just go and watch ADA. Absolutely same thing. HBAR, see, there is not a lot of difference over here because the alts are pretty much looking at the same way right now. But the good thing on HBAR is that we can see the high is liquidity. So that's again another confirmation for the bullish bias over here. What is going to be the second confirmation for the bullish bias? Well, of course, price is trading below the 0.5 of our price range. So the 0.5 for HBAR, for example, is at 0.221, and price has already broken through it, right? It's very rare to see altcoins that have actually broken the 0.5 range over here. So that is indicating that there is a lot of strength. So even if price is ranging over here, and as you can see, the range is narrowing, what you're going to be expecting when a range is narrowing like this is that price is going to violently exit that range, right? Either to the upside, or the range is going to be exited violently to the downside to retest some of the areas over here. For example, HBAR, that would be an area of 0.20 to then distribute further. Does that make sense? For example, another coin that I'm looking out for here is NEAR. So if you look at NEAR on different time frames, so for example, the daily time frame is showing you that price needs to clear this low here to the downside before it does anything else. So that's important to note. If you move the charts and look on the 12-hour time frame, however, you can see that actually price is remaining bullish. Now, the way you can read that is not to get more confused. The way you can read that is the following: price is remaining bullish. However, it might indeed want to clear the range over here that's forming to the downside before it explodes to the upside to take the liquidity over here on 12-hourly time frame. Does that make sense? You guys, let me know if you follow. Yes, make sure to share if you guys know anyone that's into trading or whatever, or wants to look at charts, wants to learn something new. You guys are more than welcome to invite them in our live stream over here. But NEAR is definitely one of the coins that I'm interested in, because for the sole reason that is trading below the 0.236 area and is holding that area for dear life down here. We haven't made a lower low, so essentially for this run, I'm still going to be expecting for NEAR to hit 7.2 at some point. Now, another favorite of mine is Pepe, right? I like Pepe a lot. And mostly, why do I like it right now? Because of the clear liquidity that's located at the highs over here. So we have it here at 0.001477 and 0.002181. So that's a substantial gain. If you manage to catch both these moves, that's around 125% move here on Pepe, which is brilliant because Pepe is also giving you clues. What are the clues? Well, clue number one, price is sitting at a buy zone, right? Clue number two, you have liquidity on a very high time frame, not one, two. So that essentially is going to mean that not only you have this buy zone, but this triangular formation, like we said earlier in the video, the two bottoms over here, right, bottom number, you know, the two double bottom, this also is holding as it needs to serve as support down here. So this is what you can observe for most of the altcoins over here. Sol, ADA, HBAR, Render. Yeah, we can look at Render. We could look at Render over here. Render is also looking nice on a high time frame. One of the coins that I like, $12 liquidity on a daily time frame, just absolutely let's go. A very good location for Render, right? Still very early in my opinion. Like, you're trading way below, right? Like if you're at $6 right now, I'll be like, okay, you still have a lot up to like $12, obviously, but imagine catching it at $3 or you know, around $3. That's very good. So that's why I'm very stoked on this coin. And I also like to see that it's holding the buy zone over here. Again, it is a range, you guys. Like, we're not going to call it anything else. It is a range. It is getting tighter, so it's going to explode eventually. Like we said, we have two options. We either clear the range to the downside, retest 3.27 on Render, and then explode to the upside, or position at the lower the range in the buy zone and explode to the upside. This is going to be always the two bullish scenarios that you have over here. How is doing APT? Yeah, APT, I'm bullish on APT, of course. Like I said, I've been blamed over here that I'm not bullish on APT. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Like, I'm personally invested in APT. So let's have a look over here. What do we have? So we've reached the zone that we were expecting to reach with this move, and then we had an immediate retrace from the $4.8 area. Now APT is still at a buy zone. Extremely low prices, daily liquidity, probably the only daily liquidity is at $7. That's the one thing that you know, I don't see pretty much anything else. I don't think I should remember if I have. No, I don't think I have. So yeah, essentially APT is one of the weaker ones, but it's trading below 0.236 of the entire range over here. So if that's the case, that means that you're getting extremely low prices over here that you potentially might not get anytime soon. So the first liquidity zone at $7, 7.066, that's one area that I think for sure, according to the analysis, according to my indicators. So at the very least, another 60% at this. Then we have a massive daily resistance over here, which is sitting at 7.65. So that's important to note here on a daily. Another resistance over here, might as well just mark that right now with you guys at 9.5. So let's zoom out on APT, right? Let's zoom out. What are you guys seeing here? What are you seeing? Like, you're, let's say you don't see my markings. What are we seeing over here? Price makes a high, low, high, low, high, pretty much low, right? Creates here overall, you know, trades below price over here, not below the initial price of 2023, which is also important, but below over here. So locally, price is weak right now. However, with this huge ranges, I would expect for price to, I'm losing my voice over here, for price to continue ranging. So essentially for this APT, sorry guys, come on, pass some love. Z Trader, thank you. Oh my god, I knew this was gonna happen. I had it at the beginning of the video. Oh my god, that's what happens when you're talking for like hours live over here. So yeah, basically APT, very low prices, extremely, you know, good positioning right now for price. But again, you guys, you need to be considering the possibilities of price potentially exiting this range to the downside to clear anyone that's been long from here, from like you know, end of June or whatever. If anyone was long here, it is possible for price to come down, right? Clear these people and then continue. Same thing, just like we said with all other alts, you have two options. You either position yourself at the buy zone or you position yourself after liquidation. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. I think I need to cut it short because I cannot speak anymore. But that's it for this week. Congratulations on another great bias for this week that we caught on Tuesday early into Monday. Make sure to like that video. And make sure to click the small bell so you never miss when I'm live here, because you're gonna get the best analysis that you could possibly get live over here with me. So far, we haven't had a miss since we started together. So make sure you do that. Also, make sure to follow my main YouTube channel in the description box. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys in the next one.